So this week, I read chapter 11 in Dillon's book, and this chapter is entitled The School as Village. So the first idea he brings up is this idea of facilitating meaning within your classroom. So facilitating meaning is basically just facilitating an environment and activities that allow children to really absorb what's being taught and to create a concrete understanding of the material, as well as a personal connection. So with music, that's generally a more emotional connection. A few weeks ago, we brought up this idea of flow, flow being a feeling of oneness with a task. So if you're playing an instrument, it's like the instrument is an extension of yourself, and you're just music is just flowing out of you. It's just very natural. So finding meaning within music, this having a solid understanding and emotional connection, is definitely a step towards attaining this feeling of flow. So how do we facilitate meaning in a schoolroom? First is your physical environment. So flexibility is key. Whether you have a super large room that you can do a lot in, or you're rolling a cart from class to class, using what you have to the best of your ability, and taking advantage of all you've been given. A classroom is a social environment by nature. There are a lot of different relationships that come from it. There's the student-teacher, there's the relationship with the classroom, the relationships between students, between the school and the community. We'll start with student and teacher though. So teachers will say, you need to have a professional relationship with your students. But Dillon brings up this idea of friendliness, of being open with your students and taking an active interest in them. He talks a lot about building upon what they're naturally responding to. So taking what they're interested in, what's pleasing to them, and building upon that to teach what needs to be taught. There's also this idea of vulnerability. Children will really respond to you being vulnerable, and especially in a musical setting when you're required to express yourself so much, whether it's you're playing an instrument or you're sharing music that means a lot to you. It's this level of vulnerability that kids will really respond to and look at as you being friendly. It's also important to promote this idea as risk-taking within a musical setting, to be risk-takers as musicians, to experiment with a piece, to experiment with your own compositions, and that it's okay if you mess up, because it's all just music. It's still music, and you're still making music, which is what's important. No matter what your position is in a school, you're going to come across school policy and curriculum, and just like the classroom, your physical environment, you interpret it and you build upon it in a way that allow you to facilitate this meaning, finding meaning in music for the kids. Two more real quick relationships. The first is with the instrument. So before a student makes music with their own instrument, the meaning they find in music is kind of feeding off your own love for music. You're providing them with examples and experiences that allow them to understand, but once they pick up that instrument and they start making their own music, it'll become very personal. The second is an ensemble, which is also a very social environment by nature. And it's the music educator's job to kind of facilitate the relationships that go on, so that students can work socially and collaboratively together, so that when it's time, they can beautifully express the music that's been written. So it's our job as music educators to give students the tools to be expressive, to express themselves within their own community. And for many people, that's with music. They choose to express themselves with music. And if we can our job is to give them the tools to do that, and to find meaning within their own culture and meaning in cultures that they aren't so familiar with. So Dillon believes that we need a shift in focus. We need a perspective that responds readily to the multicultural and technological developments of the 21st century. We need to reintegrate art and life, and view it as art as a natural process, as something that we just do as human beings. So tasks for us in this new millennium are to equip teachers with the ability to facilitate experiences that result in meaning as time and things develop. And something that's something that's most readily developing is technology. And technology can be isolating and confining, but if we take a step back and look at how we use technology in our day-to-day interactions, we can bring that into our classroom to help build a stronger community, one that's more relatable. We can also look at where our musical communities within technology. We have playlists, we share sound files, we have YouTube, we have so many apps that we can all incorporate into our classroom to help students work together and to help them find their own meaning and understanding within music.